Hello and good day to all friends. This is Mojtaba Rasti from the Thales team, and today is October 19th, 2025. I'm here with you to analyze Bitcoin using the Thales Market Screener tool. Please note that these analyses are for educational and informational purposes only, and if you use them to take positions in the market, we are on the 4-hour time frame, and the two levels we identified yesterday for today were both almost reached at the start of this candle. This candle showed a lot of volatility, and with these wicks you see, it actually swept liquidity both above and below. This was something that, to some extent, it seemed likely. If you look closely, you'll see that we were actually dealing with an ascending triangle here. Look, a triangle like this, the top side is flat and the bottom side is sloping upwards. Or like this. So, you could say we were dealing with something like this, which is an ascending triangle at the end of a downtrend. This is actually considered a trend reversal signal. So, this bullish candle also matches the pattern we talked about. The RSI has taken a bullish stance, it's moved above its moving average, and now the level that's really important for us is clearly here, 109,300. If we break through 109,300 with a strong candle and close above it, a change of character will occur. You see, in this downtrend, a change of character would happen, and we can say to a large extent that the price might be getting ready to turn upward. It's still a bit early to judge. We need to make sure these highs are reclaimed, and then we can say that the price is actually making a serious move upward. Let's go to the weekly time frame, and let me point out something else. Maybe some of you are wondering, if we bounce back up from here, what happens to this bottom? This is the bullish aspect we were talking about. If this is our bottom here, then our pattern will also be adjusted. Our pattern will look like this. Look, if we align the levels a bit, then our pattern could look like this. And see, like a puzzle, the further we go, the more complete this puzzle becomes. If this is the end of the road, these shadows we've made here could mean that from here, we might turn back upward, and the next ceiling could be, for example, 128, 129, or maybe even 130,000. And as we move forward, it becomes clearer, meaning, in a way, maybe we can say the Bitcoin top becomes more defined. Look, the end of this wedge, the tip of this wedge, is at 137.8, so really, maybe around 135.4 could be a ceiling. That could be a suitable level for Bitcoin, considering the time that's left if we take Christmas to be around. The end of this bullish cycle, around Christmas, I think this kind of scenario could play out. So, let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. You see, this move is important right now. We need to see if this candle and the following candles can reclaim 109, 110 or not. Then we can talk about it further, and maybe at that point, we can say a trend reversal and a change of character has happened. Let's move on to the market screener and see what we've got today, from the start of the day up to now. Strike. October 20th, tomorrow, October 20th, the raw database shows 2,383 Bitcoins, with 1,325 of them placed as options. In fact, these have been traded, and the result is a curve like this. Movement in both directions is still possible, but actually, both sides are almost equal. On this side, from 105,500 and below, the curve enters profit up to 96,000. At 96,000, there's a break in the red curve and the profit intensity increases. On the upper side, from 116,400 and above, we enter profit, and at one point, we enter profit with a steady slope. So, both sides have been considered, so you see, it's still. There's a fear of a downward move. In fact, this downward side in the raw data might partly be insurance contracts or hedges. That's why let's take a look at the process data. In the process data, you see a bullish pattern. Above where the price is now, above 108,200, it's aiming for profit. Let's turn on the delta, and a lot of things become clear. Look, we had a bottom here at 106,300 that was seen here. 106,200 was seen in the volatility of this very candle. This bottom was observed. From 106,300 and below for tomorrow, we have put selling, a lot of put selling. The bottom has been seen, observed up to that point. Now, if we take the average of this delta, it's around 96, about 96 to 97. We saw 106,200 as the bottom and bounced back up. From here up to the peak of the delta, we have call buying up to 112,000. Up to 112, actually from 110,000 to 112,000, we have call buying from here, and again at 112,500 for tomorrow, we reach the ceiling up to 118,000, this could be the ceiling. Look, up to here, your delta becomes downward at 118,000. So, what you can take away from this process database curve is that probably, by tomorrow we can go up to 110,000, up to here, where the price has been playing around, say 110,500, for example, we might go up. And actually, this could kind of be the same ceiling around 112 to 112, where the price might rest a bit here again and then continue moving upward. This could be a scenario where, if we reclaim 109,300, we can count on it. Okay, let's move on to drawing our indicator curve and updating the zones. Well, as you can see from the intersection of the buy and sell curves, at the top we have 109,300, which is in loss, and at the bottom we have 104,300, which is in profit. And our lower zone is the agreement zone, meaning the seller doesn't want below 103,600, and the buyer wants below 104,500. So, the range between 103,600 and 104,500 is the area of agreement between buyer and seller. But the upper zone, no, the upper zone is the area of disagreement, and the lower zone is a bit wider. So, you see, there's still a chance for a move downward. Our lower area is in profit. Let's actually enter the points into the indicator and continue. Okay, you can see the indicator bands. The bands have opened up from each other. For the start of the week, we expect increased volatility. Our floor has come up to 104,300, which is higher than yesterday's floor, and that's actually a positive point. And our ceiling has also come up to 109,300, which is higher than yesterday's ceiling. So, you're seeing increased volatility, and it's already started on this very candle, a relatively sharp drop at first, and then a move back up. And we need to see how this increased volatility ultimately plays out and which direction the price chooses. As we discussed, this 109,300 ceiling is important. We need to see if we reclaim it or not. Okay, let's move on to updating the zones and continue. Well, as you can see, the upper zone has landed exactly on that 109, the same ceiling we said is important, and reclaiming it is decisive. Actually, our floor, or lower zone, is also in the range of about 103,600 to 104,500. The upper zone is from 108,950 to about 109,650. And the middle zone, which is actually just a line, not really a zone, is the maximum profit and loss for buyers and sellers, which is 107,000, the place where the price has spent a lot of time. So, you can see that our lower zone is the area of agreement and is in profit. But considering the technicals, the movement outside the candle that we saw, and the current proximity of the price to the upper zone, it seems likely that we might see a move toward the upper zone. Our more probable target is the upper zone, but with the situation we see here, there's also a chance the price could test the lower zone again. That's why it's still too early to talk about a reversal, and a strong move that reclaims the ceiling could be decisive in setting the direction. Let's turn on the deltas and the steps to see what we have here. So, we have 3 long steps for the ticker, with the largest one at 114,500, which is where the short step is being made. The short step is being made at 114,500, as you can see. Here, well, this is interesting. Just the fact that the heaviest gamma we have here is set at 114,500 is itself a bullish sign. That means the call buyers are targeting 114, which, as you can see, is still some distance away. So, this could be an interesting point. We have another gamma at 104,800 and a weaker one at 95. In fact, these are the 2 important points that kept coming up in previous analyses. We kept running into them, meaning we have a gamma short at 108, and you could say we have a gamma short at 105 as well. Here, it's roughly around this area, so I'll change its color to red. And there's a weaker gamma short at 96, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was around here, about 96. 95 to 96, which is pretty low. So, these are basically the key gamma points for our trades, the important gamma levels for our trades. Let's look at the process database, in the processed OWSH, where things are clearer and more transparent. Our main gamma, you could say, is a gamma long around 109,000, which we said is important. This structure is significant. The ticker has bought calls for it, the ticker has bought calls for it, and it shows itself right here at 109. So, it's important. Alright, that's that. Let's go back to the process database for this case. Okay. We're on the raw database now. Even if we move the slider forward, there won't be any change in the situation. Recently, in the latest trades, you can see that the bullish leg is coming up. Here, the bullish leg gains a bit more priority and the bullish outlook becomes dominant. If I add the 21st expiration, it's still low for the 21st, meaning on Tuesday, the bearish leg starts to move upward. If we just consider only the 21st expiration for tomorrow by itself, you'll see it's completely bearish. It sees profit below 104,500 with 837 Bitcoin. And even moving the slider completely doesn't change it, so this is important. So, you have to be cautious about the bullish outlook we're talking about here. You need to be careful, because this area we're talking about, 109, after this series of red candles, is actually an important supply zone. Now that we're coming back to this supply zone, whether this supply zone gets broken, whether its orders are enough to push the price back down, that's an important issue we need to watch and see how it plays out for Tuesday. So, it seems like the situation is bearish. Today's trades for Tuesday are still seeing profit below 105. Now, today's trades for October 24th, the end of the week, if you look at today's trades for October 24th, you see that the lower bound is 101, the upper bound is 111. We're still seeing 100, 101 in our analysis, but what's important here is the upper bound, 912, almost, meaning that 112 here. You see, not only are we reclaiming 109, but if we also reclaim this upper bound, then the situation will probably change. We need to wait for the coming hours to see what move the price will make. What's clear is, look, if we actually consider the 21st series, you'll see that for the 21st series, it's showing a downward trend. Basically, the forecasted option is that it can't break this upper bound, and we'll probably head down here and then return toward 104, 105. That's what it seems like, actually. Alright, let's go back to tomorrow's expiration and take a closer look at the trades. 2,528 Bitcoin, 1,446 Bitcoin bought, 747 Bitcoin bought call, 698 Bitcoin bought put. The call buys are slightly higher. The call buys are a bit more, and their target is 108,800 and above, which we're really close to right now. 108,800 and above basically means this upper zone we have, and with the moves we're seeing in the market, it's naturally the call side that's being realized. The put buys have a target of 105,600 and below. 105,600 and below is right here, the area I've marked, and it's aiming for profit below that. On this candle's shadow, we got really close to 105,600, but didn't quite reach it completely. Right now, it looks like we're moving toward the call side being realized. Okay, for contract sales, we have 1,081 Bitcoin in contract sales, with 538 call sales and 540 put sales, almost exactly equal. But since we're moving upward, it's likely the call sales, meaning the ceiling, will be realized. Our ceiling is 108.5, meaning we'll reach this upper zone. And for our put sales, the floor is set at 105.4, so again, the bottom is considered down to this point. Alright. That's the breakdown of the contracts. Let's move on and let's take a comprehensive look at the meticulously processed database for tomorrow's trading activities. Well, it's clearly bullish. This thoroughly processed database is exceptionally important because the underlying data is highly directional, specifically tailored for transactions involving 5 Bitcoins and above, and all hedge positions are actually carefully filtered out from the recorded trades. So, let's see precisely what valuable insights we have in terms of high volume. Actually, we don't have any block trades either, except for our high volume trades. There's a 20 Bitcoin short put at 95. This one is really seeing the bottom as very low. The short put at 95, just so you know. Let's turn on the delta as well. Based on this delta, we have another bottom at 104, and around 95 there's another bottom. This person has taken a 20 Bitcoin short put at 95. We also have a short call at 114 Bitcoins. See, they're seeing the top at 114. 23 and 7 are the same Bitcoins. Again, a short call at 114, 18 Bitcoins. Short put at 105, they're seeing the bottom at 105. 21 and 14 are the same long call at 109, long call at 109. So overall, as you can see, the The general outlook is bullish, a bullishness that could move up to 112, it could go up to 112. Alright, let's take a look at the levels and liquidity. In the past 24 hours, there's liquidity on both sides of the price. On the upper side, in the range of 130 to 194, we have liquidity, and on the lower side, from 106 to 106,700, and also from 105 to 106, we have more liquidity. The distance between the price and both liquidity levels is almost the same, so it's still difficult to determine which direction we'll go in the next 48 hours. So, as you can see, the move was chosen to the upside, and the upper liquidity here has been consumed, around 208 and 270. Now, on the upper side, we have liquidity up to 109, and naturally, this is again a target on the upside, which is closer to the price. So, the probability that we'll move upward seems higher. Therefore, as a scenario, if we want to specify, we can. Consider it like this. From here, we expect that we'll move toward 100 and toward this upper high, around 109 and 300. Now, we have two scenarios. One is a pullback to around 105. Here, it's about 105 and 200, and the other is. Actually, from here, we could break out and go for, basically, break through 109 and head toward 112 and attack on 112. Let me fix this. I'll mark this in a different color. From here, we go to 112. Let's mark this in this color. So, we have two scenarios, and this is where things get tight. We need to see, based on what's coming from options and the upcoming days, it seems there's a bullish outlook in the market for tomorrow. But for the day after tomorrow, today's trades for the day after are clearly showing a downward trend, pointing toward a move back to 104. So, this 109 is important. We need to see how the reaction is here. If it breaks and consolidates above it and attacks 112, then we can say that this downtrend has seen a change in character, and maybe we can even say we're back in a bullish trend. Otherwise, if it fails to reclaim 109, it'll move downward. Options are apparently showing a downward move in the short term, for the next day or two, indicating a move back down. If we take another quick look at the area, let's check the raw database of today's trades up to this hour. This time, let's go through each day one by one. The 21st expiration, on its own, is completely bearish. The 22nd expiration is also completely bearish. Again, the target is below 105 at 104. The volume here is low, 151 contracts for the 22nd expiration, which is very low. There's some volatility, with a floor at 103 and a ceiling at 112, and 98 contracts traded, which is really low. For the 24th expiration, again, volatility for next Friday, you see a floor at 102 and a ceiling at 112. The interesting and important point is that for the end of October, October 31st, today's trades, today's inflows, are completely bullish. That means the floor is either going to be 104 here. Of course, if the floor drops below 104, there's still put selling, and it could go as low as 95. That's what it's aiming for, and then it's bullish. So, we're in a bottoming phase, and as I said, we need to see how the reactions play out here to determine the direction of the move. Thanks for your attention, and I hope this has been helpful.